taking your time to be here. We're grateful for everybody who has put in their time to help us put this together. We welcome all the people who have come to attend this event. You just heard Bakuhatsu. It is a fabulous social justice taiko group from University of California, Davis, and I'm going to introduce Greg Wada to introduce the next piece.
Thank you. Thank you, Satsuki. Thank you, everyone, for being out here today. Yeah, so we're Bakuhatsu Taiko-dan. We're a taiko group at UC Davis, and sometimes when you see these big drums, it's like, what is this, right? It's crazy. It's something different. But I wanted to give you a little bit of context here today. That when you see people playing like us out here, playing drums like this has a legacy. It has a certain kind of cultural history to it as well. Taiko gave voice to the Asian American movement in the 1960s, 1970s. It was part of a broader calls for solidarity among Asian Americans, broader struggles for liberation. And, you know, I think there's this kind of this history to that too that we want to share. So this is Asian American protesters. And we take that kind of history kind of seriously as part of our kind of study of taiko at UC Davis. So we're going to try something a little different actually. And I'm not used to the mic as much. So we're going to have to do as much as we can. We play these big drums. We're going to try a song that's also from the same period, the same ethos, the same kind of time period of movement. This is a song called We Are the Children. It's a song by Nobuko Miyamoto, Chris Jima, Charlie Chin had this kind of folk band in the late 60s, 70s. So we're going to try like a taiko cover, add our kind of own funk to it. So we're going to do that one in a second. Let me make sure my performers are today here. Just John Gunn, Lisa Shiganaga, we got Natalie Doe, we got Sarah Miller, and myself, everyone. Yeah. All this other instrument stuff's complicated. We just hit drums. Figure this out all right, let's try it. Are the offspring of concentration, sons and daughters of building builders, gonna be far from America. We are the children of the Chinese waiters, born and raised in the market. We are the offspring of the Japanese father. We give our mark America. Let's sing the song of love. What a hey. Let's sing the song of love. We got the right to awesome children of the Pepsi generation. Cowboys and Indians. Hey, watch me the next door. Secretly rooting for the other side. Let's sing a song for ourselves. What have we got to lose? Let's sing a song for ourselves. We got the right to choose. Come on, man. All right. Let's sing a we got the brothers and sisters all around the world. We are part of the third world people. Leave our mark on America. Yeah, we will leave our mark on America. We will leave our mark on America. We will leave our mark on America. If you want to sing along, join us. Thank you. Yeah, we will leave our mark on America. We will leave our mark on America. We will leave our mark on America. We will leave our mark, yeah, we will leave our mark. We will leave our mark on America. Wow. Okay, we're new to this whole miking business, but thanks for singing along with us. And just wanted to reiterate that this is part of a broader struggle for liberation. That our liberation is all connected. So thank you for being out here today. It matters so much. So let's stop this deportation. Hey, let's stop this war on immigration. All right. Yeah.
Thank you, Akuhatsu. Taiko Dan from UC Davis. So my name is Satsuki Ina. I'm one of the co-founders of Pseudo for Solidarity, retired professor from Cal State Sacramento. And I was born in the World War II prison camps when Japanese Americans were unjustly incarcerated. So our community is very familiar with the whole idea of unjust detention and deportation. And we have been spending our lives since 2019 advocating for others who are suffering and being targeted in ways that we suffered with no advocacy on our part. And so we stand with the Black Lives Movement, with the American Indian Movement, the folks that are dealing with finding their pathway to citizenship. And today we're here to share the story of Lam Lei. And this is a story, this is a human story that got tangled up during US policies in Vietnam. And there's terrible, horrible risk that Lam may be sent back to a country that he escaped, and the country who will see him when he arrives as a traitor. And June 7th, he has to show up for his ICE detention check-in. He was told to bring his passport, and there is a great possibility that on Monday when he goes to check in that they will take him. So the situation is dire, and we need all your help and support. So we're so grateful that you're here today. We're going to now have Carly Kohler, who will be singing a healing song and acknowledging the land on which we stand.
I'm Hupa Group, a European American. My people are Salmon people up near the Klamath and Trinity Rivers in Northern California, Wichita, California. I would like to honor the land today and the original peoples of this land, the Maidu, Miwok, Anishinaabe. I did reach out to some of my local friends who could also join me, but we were unfortunately unable to join. But I want to really recognize that this is the land of the Maidu, Miwok, and Anishinaabe. Very grateful to be honored today. I'm honored to be able to sing a healing song with all of you. We sing healing songs to help and support those who are going through a physical ailment or someone who's enduring a psychological struggle. This healing song was taught to my father by Dave, a Shasta elder. And my father taught me this song when I was 6 years old. And it's really meant to support someone going through a really difficult time and to bring them love, strength, protection, and healing. So today I'm going to sing that song with all of you. And we sing songs 4 times to honor the 4 directions. So you're going to hear it a few times. And please join me when I'm singing, because prayers are stronger when we all sing together and we all pray together. I learned that when I went to Standing Rock and I prayed with all these people from all these different backgrounds, and there were so many of us, and we were all praying together, and a lot of good came from that. And so today, if we could all pray for all those who are suffering and for our friend Lam, we want to give him strength, protection, healing, and love. So as I'm singing that song, please hold those thoughts in your mind, okay? Thank you. Oh. Thank you, Barbie. It's an honor to have you here.
Next, I'm going to invite up Nancy Lakai and Jerry Honda. These beautiful folded paper cranes that you see represent Tsudu for Solidarity's mission, and I'll let them explain that. And then we're going to have a
Đây là thôi đi. Hôm nay đến thăm nhau.
Greetings, everyone. It's wonderful to see so many of you here today. Speaking on behalf of Team Solidarity, Tsudu Japanese means crane. And as you see here on the stage, there are thousands of paper cranes that we and many people across the country have folded. These paper cranes symbolize wishes of hope, healing, and compassion, especially for our friend Lam Lei and other refugees who are in danger of deportation. The original goal of Tsudu
Mr. Gold, 120 Ukrainians, representing the number of Japanese Americans who were interned unjustly in concentration camps during World War II. And our expression now is to express our solidarity and support for children, youth, and families being held in immigrant detention camps today. So please join us as we support Lam Lei and all immigrant children and families being detained.
So paper cranes are symbols of passion and hope. And Suited for Solidarity has taken thousands of paper cranes to the southern border and hung them in front of the detention facilities where children and families have been held. We wanted the children to know that there were people outside who cared. We also brought taiko drums so that children inside these prisons would be able to hear the beating of our hearts, to receive the message that they're not alone and that there are people like us, every single one of you who are here today, who are fighting for their human rights and their right to be free. Our next speaker is Josh Kaisuka. Josh is a criminal attorney here in Sacramento and has generously volunteered to assist in helping Lam navigate this very complex process of applying for a pardon. Josh.
So Satsuki kind of told you who I am. I'm a criminal defense lawyer by day. And in my off time, I help out with the causes, co-president of the Untitled Chapter of the Japanese American Citizens League, and I've been folded in as a member of Tulu for Solidarity. So let's give it up for Tulu for Solidarity. So I guess what I'm here to talk about is why we're here today. Why are we here? We're here for Lam. We're here for Lam Lei. Lam is right here. Where's Lam? There he is. Let's give it up for Lam because that's why we're here. When I say, why are we here? What do you say? For Lam. Why are we here? Why are we here? I can't hear you. Why are we here? All right. So, what do we want? You got it. What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? So, yeah, we don't want it tomorrow, do we? We want it when? Yeah. When do we want it? Yeah. All right. So we want you guys to send a voice into that Capitol. It doesn't matter if Governor Newsom's there or not, but we want people in there to hear pardon. Yeah. Pardon love. Pardon love. Pardon love. Pardon love. Pardon love. All right. Give it up for yourselves. Woo! I just want to talk a little bit about love, because I guess I have helped a little bit. Tutor for Solidarity has actually done most of the work. Actually, it's Lam that has done the work. And his story is about redemption, compassion, a second chance, and a promise. You've heard that Lam grew up in Vietnam.
saw the horrors of a war that this country was involved in. At the age of 12, after being physically abused and emotionally abused by his father, his sick mother, who couldn't come with him, said, "We have to find safety." So at the age of 12, he left, taking his younger brother first to Hong Kong. That's where he had days where he didn't have any food. Can you imagine starving at that young age after seeing the horrors of the war that was perpetrated by this country? Seeing people die in front of him, dead bodies. He eventually made it with his brother over to this country. But again, instead of finding safety and refuge, the sponsor family abused him physically and emotionally. He ended up on the streets. Something that happens far too often when you don't have an adult role model. And in trying to find safety, he bonded with others just like him. Not an adult, a youngster. When that kind of things happen, what do? You end up using alcohol, doing things you probably shouldn't do. But he has atoned for it. Yes, he went to prison, but he found Auntie June. Auntie June would show him one of the first adults who really cared enough and loved him, opened his eyes, started taking their courses. He reformed. He saw that there's something more he could do with his life. Started teaching kids, don't join gangs, don't do alcohol, don't do drugs. And a few years ago, the parole board found that he was no longer a danger to society. He said, well, you know what? He deserves a second chance. But before he could even get that second chance, who was there? He breathed a few minutes of free air before ICE took him in. He ended up at the Yuba County ICE detention facility, where once again, for the first 24 hours of his incarceration, they only gave him a sandwich. Can you imagine going through that at the age of 12 as a refugee and again, not having? We're here today to acknowledge and congratulate Love for turning his life around. What we're asking for is a second chance, a chance to show that he really deserves to stay in this country with the only family he has, which is his brother, and not be deported to a country where he can face certain death and harm. So what do we want? When do we want it?
Now.
Pardon.
Now.
Pardon.
Now.
Pardon. Let's hear it one more time. Pardon.
Now.
Thank you very much.
All right.
It's getting very warm, so please note we have water over there by the table. We also have our project over there, so that if you want to fill tsuru and stick them on a larger tsuru, you can do that. And over here on the side in the shade is a children's corner. So if there are kids that need to be occupied, we have a table over there. Monitor. So promise to be done at 12 before it gets too hot, so I'm going to move on quickly here. Our next speaker is Dr. Rhonda Rios Kravitz. She is with Sacramento Immigration Coalition, and I'll introduce her.
such an honor to be here today on this stage with Suro for Salader, who I first met when we were working on a rally to support the strikers at Yuba County Jail. And then came Suro for Solidarity. We did not know that they were going to come, and it was so outstanding and incredible to watch that solidarity with us. I also am so excited to stand with Lee and Charles Joseph. So Sacramento Immigration Coalition has worked really hard and is continuing to work on a pardon for Charles. So Charles, please raise your hand. I want to thank all of you in the audience who are social justice workers and continue every day to fight the fights that we need to fight, and to the drummers. Thank you. Social justice drummers. So powerful. The Sacramento Immigration Coalition always now begins with land acknowledgement, like you heard. We want to acknowledge that we gather on the traditional land of the indigenous people, past and present, and honor with gratitude the land itself and the people who have stewarded throughout the generations. Sacramento is home to the ancestral homeland of the Nisenan, Maidu, Miwok, and Miwok people who have lived here since time immemorial. It's also important to remember that when talking about time immemorial, the U.S. remains in the grip of an unjust, unnecessary, and self-inflicted epidemic of mass incarceration, the machinery of which only deepens racial inequities and harms that have existed for hundreds of years. Our current laws and systems criminalize whole communities by design. It is not accidental. We must look at individual circumstances of people's lives and the ways people have changed their lives and are giving back. We must honor the values of transformation and ensure that formerly incarcerated people have the opportunity to rejoin their loved ones. After his release from prison, Lam Lei became an essential worker, began community service, and joined the Vietnamese church community. As the petition for him states, he is a beloved and highly respected member of the Suro family. He is kind, he is reflective, and he is hardworking. He is a childhood survivor of extreme violence and trauma who transformed himself and now offers care for others who have also experienced childhood violence. Policing, incarceration, and immigrant detention disproportionately target people of color. Latinx people make up around 18% of the U.S. general population, but they're 31% of the prison population and almost 89% of the population in our immigrant detention centers. In the U.S., Southeast Asian communities are 3 to 4 times more likely to be deported for past convictions when compared with other immigrant communities. In 2018, at least 16,000 of the 2.7 million Southeast Asians in the U.S. had received final deportation. More than 13,000 of which were based on past criminal records. This means 80% of the total Southeast Asian deportation orders were linked to old criminal records, compared with 29% of all immigrants with deportation. In California, almost 2 out of 3 incarcerated Asian or Pacific Islanders are refugees or immigrants. And Southeast Asian young people are particularly criminalized. One study found that 4 out of 5 Southeast Asian young people in San Jose reported having been arrested. Another study found that Samoan and Southeast Asian young people are arrested far more frequently than their white, Latino, and other API counterparts in Alameda and San Francisco counties. This is unacceptable, and this is why we are here today, to recognize these injustices and to fight these injustices. We must address systemic racism in our laws, including our immigration laws. Our laws and immigration policies should be rooted in the values of compassion, fairness, opportunity, and respect for human rights. That's right. Lam Lei is in an imminent danger of deportation and therefore requires the expediency of a direct pardon from Governor Newsom. It is time for the governor to give pardons to undocumented immigrants such as Charles, who we are fighting for in Lam Lei. They deserve this. Under our harsh immigration laws, punishment for immigrants with a conviction never ends. Immigrants, including green card holders, can be deported for past conviction, even when it is decades old. But governors and Governor Newsom, we hope you are listening, have the ability to correct this injustice. It is time to disentangle the criminal, legal, and immigration systems that propagate mass incarceration and mass deportation. Sac Immigration Coalition advocates for closing all immigrant detention centers in the U.S. Now is the time to dig deeper, dream bigger, and fight for everyone's common humanity. The harms and violence of the immigration system, which deprives tens of thousands of liberty each day, are systemic and inherent. We must work to end the vilification and mass deportation of immigrants, particularly those on criminal convictions. Our work and values must be grounded in basic dignity, racial justice, and human rights. We ask you to fight for transformative decarceral legislation and further public understanding that policing and punishment regimes lie counter to public safety and community health. We ask that you fight with us on a daily basis to gain permanent protection and citizenship for all of our community members. Work with us to end and stop deportations of people, abolish ICE and CTV as all border protection. These are agencies that for nearly 20 years have been able to grow into billion-dollar agencies. This must be checked and stopped now. Fight for migrant youth at Fort Bliss who are being subjected to prohibited forms of collective and individual punishment. Children who are seeking protection and care, who have taken unimaginable risks to be reunified with their families. Join us and call for the full recognition and respect of the right of all children to seek asylum and not to be detained in large institutional settings. All migrants have the right to seek a dignified life, as well as the right to migrate and to seek safety, refuge, asylum, and sanctuary. Together, we stand together to make a difference. And like Josh, I have a chant too. When I say immigrant rights are under attack, what do? You say, stand up, fight back. Yes. When immigrant rights are under attack, what do?
Stand up, fight back.
Louder. When immigrant rights are under attack, what do?
Stand up, fight back.
And our last chant, don't give in to racist fear. You say, immigrants are welcome here. Don't give in to racist fear.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Don't give in to racist fear.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Thank you. Join us.
Thank you, Rhonda. I'm going to step off this agenda for a second and invite Charles Joseph up to just say a few words. Come on up. Charles, under deportation.
Hola to all. Hola is good life, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Charles Joseph. I'm with the Interfaith Movement for Human Integrity, spiritual activist, president. Also with APSC. I work with a few other organizations that I've been honored to work with. I was introduced to Suru through a healing circle. I was fortunate to be welcomed. It was very healing. It was a great experience for me. Like Lam, I also am under immediate threat of deportation. So I understand my brother's journey, you know, the hardship that comes with it. I have my family, and it's hard knowing that we could be just gone. You know, the government, the system doesn't care about family. You know. The system doesn't care about building family, how essential it is. for a house to have a mother, a father. The family is the cornerstone of our community. If we can strengthen our families, we strengthen our communities. It seems like a simple equation. And yeah, we've made mistakes. I made mistakes. I went to prison for 12 years. ICE picked me up, was there for 11 months. After my release, they put me on house arrest for 11 months. I've recently just been let off with the help of my attorneys and ACLU, been let off of house arrest. And I'm like 2 months now, I've been moving around freely, but with at the same time with the ankle monitor. So I'm still on incarceration. I want to do this chant, man, for my brother. Send this prayer, it's a prayer chant. Send this, also give sacred regards to the land we stand on. This is mandatory. I'm from Fiji, so I'm gonna do this in Fijian. Do this the best way I know how. Ongo na nongu, nongu masu, kanyu sangan reva, beusereta karawa, nayada ichio, ichio, ichi, ni vuke au ni vuke au manda, ngandre ni alo, amai tangita, ongo na nongu no imasukaniu sangandre dina sarambeo sereta karawa nayada ichio ichi di buke au manda ngandre dialo amai tangida ongo na no umasu. This means this is my prayer. You know, I try and pray for your aid. I pray that the Creator come to Lam's aid, come to my aid, because this is urgent. This is urgent, and it's life and death. We've already suffered, and we've been fighting, and surviving it. Imagine to be granted parole. You are changed. You have been redeemed by being granted parole. I was granted parole, and yet yet ICE did not honor this. They put you in detention and they say, no, you're not parolable. You don't deserve bond. You're a threat to the community. Yet the community is out here fighting. They fought for me to come home. They fought for Lam. Community once, we want our community members back. There's redemption for all. And I just pray the Creator uses his power and touch the governor's heart so that he may pardon Lam, because it is essential for his safety and for the betterment of our community, because we need community leaders like Lam. They've been through it, they've been through the fire, been purified, and we know how to assist the next generation, like Lam has already been doing, assisting with gang prevention, talking to youth, because the youth are the future. And we're the bridge. We're the ones that came first and been through the fire. We know what they're gonna go through. Our parents may not have known. Our parents were, they didn't go through it. We went through it. We went through the prison system, all these mass incarceration systems, detention, all of it. We went through it. And we can assist the next generation. So much respect, much love to all. Creator, just bless us all, and change the system.
We are brothers and sisters, and we need to keep our families together. Thank you, Charles Joseph. There is a website sponsored by Southeast Asian Resource Action Center, CRAC, where they list the names and information about people who are in deportation proceedings. And if you want more information, you can go to our To Do for Solidarity website for more information. Our next speaker is Reverend Pamela Anderson from Parkview Presbyterian Church, a longstanding, actually Japanese American church, and she has been serving and ready to speak today.
Presbyterian Church represents. Yes, I love this. So thank you so much. Dr. Cornell West once said, love is what justice looks like in public. So we are showing love, and we are here in public to show up, to take a stand. So as a person of faith, it is so important to show up, because there's times when we can no longer be silent. There was a priest in the Bible by the name of Eli, and he was very corrupt, and God was not pleased with Eli because he was a high priest. And you want to know what his crime was? He did not speak up. He saw injustices that were happening, and yet he said nothing. And in fact, the two greatest perpetrators were his sons. And he did nothing to stop the rampages that they were doing. And God said to Eli, you want to know what God said? God said, time's up. You knew what was going on, and yet you did nothing. And destruction will be upon you and your house and your family. Friends, when we do nothing, there is destruction, yes? When we do nothing, that is when injustice gets to go on a rampage. But we can say with ourselves today, in all our good conscience, not on my watch. Not on our watch. We are showing up. And there's been churches that I've worked at in the past where I've had to be Switzerland, where I had to be neutral, so as not to offend people or not to like get them upset. But sometimes there comes a time when you say time's up. There's also a scripture verse that says, you are neither hot nor cold, you are lukewarm, and I will spit you out of my mouth. There comes a time when we need to stand up, speak up, and show up. Can I get an amen? Amen. Oh my goodness, I'm preaching here, right? Yeah. So there comes a time, and this is why it is such an honor to be the interim pastor at Parkview Presbyterian Church, because they believe what they do. And this is an activist church, and they show up. And I'm so honored and proud to be working with this community, because they have experienced when no one showed up for them. They've experienced 9066 when people were silent. There's been times where we have things that are happening at the US-Mexico border and people have been silent, and yet it is so important to show up. During the Nazi war regime, what was going on with the trains that were carrying the Jewish communities, the Jewish people to the concentration camps, you want to know what would happen when they would go past churches in those trains? When the people inside the church, they could hear the cries of the people crying out for help. And you want to know what the church people did? They sang louder to drown out the noise of the pain. We need to not sing louder to drown out the pain, the noise of the pain, but we need to be silent and listen and start raising our voices on the side of the vulnerable. So we are here to be here and to take a stand for Lam Lei, for Charles, for us to be able to say, not on our watch. So Lam Lei, I understand that you're here. Lam, where are you? Come over here, please. Is that okay? Charles, is it okay if we also have you here too? You're taking a stand. It's so nice to meet you. Showing up. And this is something that I'd like for us to do. I'm going to give you both a blessing. Do I have consent to give you a blessing? And then if we could all join in with this blessing as well. We're not able to do this during a time of COVID, but if you could just point to the different parts of your body. So, my dear friends, we are showing up. We are speaking up. Because as Martin Luther King says, when you're silenced, then you side with the oppressor. And we're saying, not on our watch. My dear friends, the world is too beautiful and too dangerous for anything but love. Yes? Can I get an amen?
Amen.
So I bless your eyes that you may see God, that you may see God in everyone. I bless your ears that you may hear the cry of the poor. I bless your mouths that you may speak truth in love. And I bless your hands that everything you give and receive may be a sacrament. And I bless your feet that you may run to those who need you. And I bless your hearts. May your hearts be so open and so set on fire that your love changes everything. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Anderson. And for the Buddhists in the group, we can do our gasho and say Namo Amida Butsu. Ready? Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you all. And now we're going to hear from Lam.
Hello, everyone. I'm here to get everyone here to support you. I feel so grateful, appreciation. I feel that you come here, give me your care about me, compassion. Without you, without Dr. Sasuke, without the solidarity, I could not make it because I can be. I've been out so locked up so long. When I came out, I have no one to look. That to have you, I look at, I'm willing to help me and be grateful. I keep that in mind. I will never forget in this life. A lot of people care about it. Me, a lot of people that good talk, passion, overall. So speakly, sometimes I want to say a lot of things to everybody. Without good to be here, I thank you that come so far to be here for me. Care, compassion, take the time for everything. I hope you understand that sometimes I don't say more and more how I feel. But I look at the guy, take your time to come here. Care, compassion is really touching my heart. I hope that I will never forget this one of you. And everyone that aside from my tradition, pardon. Without you guys, I'm not be here today. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for solidarity. All in all, I thank God. I thank the people incarcerated came out to deserve second chance. Thank you very much.
And on that note, we're going to have one more piece by Bakuhatsu.
All right, man, it's been such a powerful day. We've heard languages, we've heard faith community leaders, we've heard civil rights activists, we've heard from everybody in this, gathered here today. So thank you all for being here. We can only offer one more thing in our energy as taiko performers. We're gonna play a song, Utage. Can I get a little bit of a backbeat, someone? Give me, and if you want to, similarly, if you want to sing along with us, we'll give you a little bit of a. It's a do go do go do go do go do go. If any of you are taiko players out there, singers, percussionists of any kind, feel free to join along with us. It's a simple backbeat with a simple phrase. We'll do a call and response, and it's kind of like an easier one and a harder one. Maybe we'll start with Odoru wa ho, miru wa ho. Odoru wa ho, miru wa ho. Onaji aho naru odora ni so so. That's complicated, right? This is easier. Eh janai ka, eh janai ka, eh janai ka. Yeah, okay. That's easy. Eh janai ka, eh janai ka, eh janai ka. This is lyrics come from Awa Odori. This is a traditional song. The significance here is this was when people would go and have festivals, parties, and the government would try to shut them down. They call Ejanaika could literally mean isn't it good, but it also has this connotation. So why not? Why shouldn't we dance? Why shouldn't we be out here? Why can't we as the community celebrate, be with the people? So with that, it's the spirit. It's our last song for you. We're talking. Hey.
Thank you. So much. I want to take a moment because many people in the process of understanding Lam's story start with the story about how Lam met Auntie June. And we happen to have Auntie June here today. She has been a volunteer at San Quentin for decades, bringing art, origami art to prisoners in San Quentin. And this is where Lam met June. And June has continued her work, and she's been the bridge for many of these guys who've been released, helping them, supporting them, being their Auntie June. So I want Auntie June to just step forward. Come on, June.
Thanks everybody for coming out to support Lam. It's very special to me, and as are all of my students. And it broke my heart when he got released from San Quentin and got picked up immediately by ICE inside San Quentin. So thank you all for coming out to support him and all formerly incarcerated people that are in ICE detention or facing deportation. I have about 8 students actually who are on the deportation list, and I heard just yesterday that 3 formerly incarcerated men from China were just picked up in the last few weeks. So we have a lot more work to do. Thanks so much for coming out for Lam. He's very special in my heart. I love him, and it's been such a blessing to be an art teacher and other teachers at San Quentin. So it's a blessing for me. Thank you all for coming out.
Thank you, Auntie June.
Thank you.
Hey, Auntie June, thank you. So we're just about ready to wrap up. I want to just say that, you know, our numbers are small today. Of course, we're hoping for thousands of people to show up, but there are thousands of hearts here, and like any seed that gets planted and blossoms out of love will also grow other flowers. And it is our hope that you will spread the word. Lam has to meet with ICE on Monday, so things are imminently in danger. We will also be spreading the word through the media. We have Capital Public Radio here. We also have Sacramento News and Review. You can go online. They did a wonderful, fabulous article on Lam's story. And ABC National is going to do a full story on him. We're going to go to Lam's workplace and video him at work, and then do an interview with him and tell his entire story. And of course, Lam and Charles Joseph's story are ones that we put forward so that people will understand the grueling, inhumane process that these people have to go through, and that there are many others that are awaiting support from each of you. There's also legislation in the works called the Visions Act. You can find that on the website, and it is being supported by a coalition of Southeast Asian organizations and other human rights organizations pushing to stop the pipeline of the California Department of Corrections notifying ICE to pick up individuals as they step out into their freedom. And that is on the floor today, and hoping that this will finally will have some legislative support to stop this injustice that's been going on. So I want to thank you all, get you out of the sun. Please pass the word on. Send your love to Lam on Monday. You'll be at the San Francisco ICE office. If you're around, we'd love to have your presence there. We'll be live streaming it on Facebook, and we'll have faith leaders and legal people there to be there to witness whatever happens to Lam. So please sign the petition. I have all these pictures. She's faking it, but she's telling me that. Please sign the petition. We need thousands of names on that petition. Thank you all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Lam, for fighting and keeping your courage and your resilience and your love. I'll tell you one last story as we end. Lam was released and put in transitional housing during COVID. So he got released after 32 years of incarceration, picked up by ICE and put into ICE detention facility for 68 days. When he's released, COVID hit, and he was placed in quarantine. And during this time in transitional housing, someone got infected. So Lam had to then move to another hotel, temporary housing for people in quarantine. So when he called me to tell me that he had been moved, I felt so much disappointment for him, how many times he's had to be moved and how many times he's had to be continually confined. And this is what he said to me, and this will give you a feel about the man that he is. He said, Dr. Satsuki, I'm the happiest man in the world. And I said, how could that be? And he said, I'm in a place with one room, one man, and a window that opens. I've never had that in my life. So let's give Lam his life. Thank you.
Love,